Hi, fifth graders. Here we are, week number 23 of remote learning, and we are on module 7, lesson 3 for math. We are assessing the reasonableness of mixed number sums and differences. So please have that in front of you with a pencil so that way you can do the work and follow along with the lesson, so you'll be ready to do the independent work afterwards. Alrighty. So you're going to be able to add and subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators and then assess the reasonableness. So Caroline trains every weekend for a track and field competition. She writes down how long she spends running sprints and jumping hurdles. How many hours does she spend training on Sunday? We're going to first write an expression to model the situation. So we can see over here on her little list for Sunday, she spends, I'm going to have to, I thought I had focused this, but we'll focus it again. There, that's a little better. She spends 2 2/5 hours on sprints and 1 1/4 hour on hurdles. So we want to find out how much she does on Sunday. How long does she spend training? So the expression we are trying to solve is 2 2/5 plus 1 1/4. That's what we want to solve. So first we're going to estimate our answer. So we're going to think 2 2/5. 2/5 is really close to 1/2. So this would be about 2 1/2 plus 1 1/4. Well, 1 1/4 is closer to 1 whole if we had a number line. So our answer should be about 3 1/2. About. So we'll see if that's the case when we do our answer, when we find our answer. So the first thing we need to do is rewrite the expression in part A, this one right here, using equivalent fractions with a common denominator and then find the sum. So we're going to keep our whole number, but we want to take and see what do our 5 and our 4, what would be a common denominator for 5 and 4? Well, the lowest common denominator I can think of is 20. So if 20 is our denominator, we have to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 5 times 4 is 20. So we'll have 2 8/20 plus 1 and, so remember we're doing 20ths. So to get 20ths, we have to multiply by 5, so that means we have to multiply the top number by 5. So 1 5/20. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. 8/20 plus 5/20 equals 13/20. So how many hours does Caroline spend training on Sunday? It would be 3 13/20 hours of training. And is our answer reasonable? Yes, because if I had 3 10/20, that would be exactly 3 1/2. And I'm only 3/20 away from a half. So yes, our answer is reasonable. And that's because the estimate is close to 3 13/20. Right? Our estimate of 3 1/2 is close to 3 13/20. Alrighty. Number 2. Uh-oh. Sorry, I just lost my something on the computer. All right, Jonah's best pole vault jump is 7 1/4 feet. A sign in the gymnasium shows the gym's record. How much shorter than the gym's record is Jonah's best jump? So we can see that Jonah's best is 7 1/4 feet. The record is 8 7/12 feet. So we want to be able to find, the difference between the pole vault record and Jonah's record. So how are we going to do that? We are going to subtract. So we have 8 and 7/12 minus 7 1/4. So the first thing we have to do is do an estimate. So 8 and 7/12 is really close to 8 1/2. And 7 1/4 is really close to 7. So 8 1/2 minus 7 would equal 1 1/2. So we're going to see if that is close to our answer. So let's find equivalent fractions. Well, when I look at my 4 and my 12, I can see that actually I can do something to my 1/4 to get me to have 12ths. So I'm going to keep my 8 and 7/12, and I'm going to subtract it by 7, and to get this to be 12ths, I would need to multiply the top and the bottom by 3. So 7 3/12. 8 and 7/12 minus 7 3/12. 8 minus 7 is 1. 7/12 minus 3/12 is 4/12. So how far is Jonah's jump from the gym's record? 1 4/12 feet. And is our answer reasonable? Yes. It is close to 1 1/2, right? 1 1/2 is close to 1 4/12. All righty. So let's do our check for understanding. Jenna competes in the high jump. Her best jump is in the first meet is 4 1/4 feet. Her best jump in the second meet is 4 5/6 feet. Write an expression using equivalent fractions with a common denominator to model how much the height of her jump increases. By how much does the height of her jump increase? Show that your answer is reasonable. So are we adding or subtracting this problem? I hope you said that we are subtracting, because we want to know what the difference is. How much does the height increase? So we have 4 5/6 minus 4 1/4. So we need to first find a common denominator, right? So I don't see where we could multiply one or the other to get to the other's denominator, but when I look at these two numbers, I can see that they both have a 12 in common. So if they both have a 12 in common, I could do 4, and if I have a 12 on the bottom, I have to multiply the top and the bottom by 2. So 10/12 minus 4, and if I have a 12 on the bottom, I have to multiply top and bottom by 3. So 4 minus 4 is 0. 10/12 minus 3/12 equals 7/12. So let's see if we do an estimate. 4 5/6 is close to 5, minus 4 1/4 is close to 4. So that would equal 1. 7/12 is close to 1. So yes, our answer is reasonable because we can see that it is close. All right, write the expression using equivalent fractions with a common denominator. Then find the sum or the difference. So we have 2 3/5 plus 1 3/10. So what common denominator do you think we could use? Well, I noticed that they have a 10 in common, so I don't need to do anything with my 1 3/10. So I can get a common denominator with my 2 3/5. 3/5 to get to tenths would be multiply the top and the bottom by 2. So I have 6 tenths. So 2 plus 1 is 3. 6 tenths plus 3 tenths is 9 tenths. So we've got 3 and 9 tenths. Now we're going to find the difference. So we've got eighths and halves. We can regroup, we can change our denominator for our halves to be equivalent, or to have the same denominator as a 3 and 7/8. So 3 and 7/8 minus 1, and, well, if I'm going to change our halves to eighths, I'm multiplying the top and the bottom by 4. So it would be 4/8. So 3 minus 1 is 2. 7/8 minus 4/8 equals 3/8. So 2 and 3/8. All right, now let's do some on your own. If you want to do this independently and then come back and check your answer, you most certainly can, or you can stay right with me and do this with me. So we are going to be with Donna, and she is training for a triathlon. Her fastest times for the 3 parts of the event are swimming, 1 1/4 hour, running 1 1/2 hour, and biking 1 1/5 hour. If she matches her best times in all 3 parts, how long will it take for her to finish the triathlon? So we've got 3 parts. So we have 3 numbers that we have to find a common denominator for. So we're going to be adding 1 1/4 plus 1 1/2 plus 1 1/5. So what do all of these have in common? It can't be 5, not 8, not 10. I'm thinking 20. I think all of these have 20, the denominator 20 in common. So we would have 1 and, if I had 20ths here, 5 20ths, because you have to multiply the top and the bottom by 5, plus 1 and 10 20ths, because I have to multiply the top and the bottom by 10, plus 1 and 4 20ths, because I have to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. 5 plus 10 is 15. Plus 4 is 19. So 3 and 19 20ths. Almost 4 hours. Takes her 3 and 19 20ths of an hour to complete the triathlon, if she was able to match her best times. Richie estimates 1 7/8 minus 1 1/6 to be about 1, but he finds the actual difference to be less than 1. Did he make a mistake? Well, let's see. So if we were to estimate this, 1 7/8 is close to 2, minus 1 1/6, which is close to 1. So, 1 1/6. So his estimate is a 1. So he's right. His estimate is about 1. So let's see. 1 7/8, we're going to regroup to 1 and, let's see, we could do 24ths. So 1 and 21 24ths, because you're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 3, minus 1 and 4 24ths, which would equal 21 24ths minus 4 24ths equals 17 24ths. So isn't that almost 1? It's a little less than 1, but he didn't make a mistake. He did not make a mistake. He estimated it would be about 1, and it ended up being just a little less. So that's okay. He didn't make a mistake, because that's what he got for his answer. All right, number 6. Find the sum or the difference. So we've got sixths and 12ths. So how about we regroup our sixths this to be twelfths. So we would have 3 and, so if our denominator is 12, our numerator, we have to multiply it by 2, would be 10. 3 and 10 twelfths minus 1 and 7 twelfths. 3 minus 1 is 2. 10 twelfths minus 7 twelfths is 3 twelfths. So 2 and 3 twelfths. 4 and 1/2 minus 2 and 1/3. Well, I think we could get a 6 in common here. So 4 and, if I'm doing sixths, 4 and 3/6 minus 2 and 2/6, which equals 2 and 1/6. So we have 5 and 1/3 plus 3 and 3/7. We can get our denominator to have 21 in common. So it'll be 7 21s plus 3 and 9 21s. So that would be 8 and 16 21s. Number 9. To get anything in common for these two, not 18, not 27. How about 36? So 2 and 16 36 plus 1 and 9 36 equals 3 and 16 17. 25 36. All right, number 10. Shia buys a bag of apples that weighs 2 7/16 pounds and another bag that weighs 2 1/2 pounds. Estimate the weight of both bags of apples, then find the exact weight. So the estimate, 2 7/16 is almost 2 1/2 plus 2 1/2. We don't need to estimate that because it's already one of the benchmark fractions. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, so this would be 5 pounds is our estimate. So let's find the exact number. So we have a 2 and we have a 16, so we're going to rename this to 16ths. So 2 and 7/16 plus 2 and 8/16 equals 4 and 15/16. Almost exactly 5. It's only 1/16 away. Shia also buys a bag of oranges that weighs 3 5/8 pounds. Write an expression to model how much more the bags of apples weigh than the bag of oranges. So the bags of apples weigh 4 15/16. So we're going to subtract that by 3 and we're going to regroup this to be 16ths, or rename it, I should say. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 2, so we have 10. So 4 minus 3 is 1. 15/16 minus 10/16 equals 5/16. So they weigh 1 5/16 more pounds, the apples do, than the oranges. Alrighty. Now we're to the on your own section. If you want to do this part independently and then come back and check your answers, you can, or stay with me and we will do this together. So a restaurant's refrigerator contains 4 1/2 heads of lettuce. Marlon uses 3 1/4 of them to make a salad. How many heads of lettuce are left in the refrigerator? So the refrigerator had 4 1/2. He uses 3 1/4. So this is a subtraction problem. So what can we find that's in common? We can get a 4th in common, right? So we're going to have 4 and 2/4 minus 3 and 1/4. 4 minus 3 equals 1. 2/4 plus 1/4 equals 1/4. So 1 1/4 heads of lettuce are left. Next we have Ed. And Ed is buying a plant that will grow to be 8 1/2 inches tall. The plant Ed buys, today is 3 3/8 inches tall. Write an expression using equivalent fractions with a common denominator to model how many more inches the plant is expected to grow. Okay, we're going to skip that part. So we've got 8 1/2 minus 3 3/8. So we're going to rename our 8 1/2 to be 8s. So it'd be 8 4/8 minus 3 3/8. 8 minus 3 is 5. 4/8 minus 3/8 is 1/8. So it needs to grow another 5 1/8 inches to reach its full amount that it's going to grow. Alrighty. We are going to skip this one as well. Okay, we're going to do number 14. Abigail works 6 1/2 hours, 2 2/3 hours, and 4 1/4 hours this week. How many more hours will Abigail need to work this week to reach her goal of 18 1/2 hours? So this is going to be a two-step problem. First, we need to figure out how much she has already worked. Then we're going to need to figure out how much more to get to her goal. So we have a 2, a 3, and a 4. When I look at those three numbers, I think they all have a 12 in common. So we're going to have 6, and we have to multiply this by 6/12 plus 2, and we have to multiply this by 4, 8/12 plus 4, and we have to multiply this by 3, 3/12. 6 plus 2, 8 plus 4, so we have 12. 6 plus 8, 14, plus 3 is 17/12. Now, this is more than an hour, right? We can pull out a 12/12, which is 1 hour. And that leaves us with 5/12. So she really has worked 13 5/12 hours so far. And we need to subtract that from, sorry, I got that in the wrong direction. So we need to have 18 6/12 minus 13 5/12. 18 minus 13 is 5, and 6/12 minus 5/12 is 1/12. So she still has to work 5 1/12 more hours this week to reach her goal. So remember, when your top number is bigger than your bottom number, you have to pull out your whole number first and then find out how much you have left. And that whole number has to get added with your other whole numbers. So for his daily exercise, Cato likes to travel 8 miles. Today he jogs 3 2/5 miles and walks 4 7/10 miles. Does Cato meet his goal? Well, let's see. Well, we have a 10 in common, so we're going to rename this to, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 2, 3 4/10 plus 4 7/10. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4/10 plus 7/10 is 11/10. Oh, look it. Our top number is bigger than our bottom number. So if I regroup this and I pull out a whole number of 10/10, right? He walked and jogged 8 1/10 miles. So does he meet his goal? Yes, he actually goes over it. Okay? So I would like you to do 7.3 independently. When you are finished, please make sure it gets back to me at school by the end of the week, by the 5th. So that way I can get it looked over and graded. And I will see you soon. Bye.